This is my first ever Q&A for all my many music fans out there, well, particularly Music Fan 100, who has sent me through some questions, so I'll answer you. Okay, the first one, what instruments do you play? Okay, well, I play the recorder, the clarinet, the piano, the iwi and the sax. Okay, so question 2, what got you interested in them? Well, there's a little story for each of them. Okay, the recorder, I was probably about 5 or 6. There was a recorder hanging around the house, and basically I just wanted to be like my older sister, really. She's 5 years older than me, and I just wanted to play the recorder. So that's how I sort of got into doing that, basically. And then at 7 I got a part in the school play, the Pied Piper, and by then I was really into playing the recorder and doing music, and I used to write lots of little pieces, and so I was the lead part in the Pied Piper, and I played my own recorder compositions. So that's how I got into the recorder. The clarinet, I got into the clarinet, basically the headmaster at school announced in assembly one day whether anyone would like to play the clarinet, and if they would, go and see him in his office. So I can remember thinking, yes, I would actually. Fairly simple, really. And it was just sort of an impulse thing, but sometimes impulse things have a habit of changing your life. And that did, really, because through that I ended up really getting into the clarinet and doing a music degree, and basically, yeah, being a musician, really, most of the time. Well, most of the time. With the piano, I began learning that at the age of 12. That was when we moved to Crawley. I was at the West Sussex Music Centre doing clarinet and recorder and choir, wind band, quite a lot of things actually. And I started having piano lessons. I think at that point it was fairly obvious that I was quite into music. And so my parents thought it would be a good idea if I learnt to play the piano. You need to play the piano anyway. If you do a music degree, you have to be a certain standard, and I took grade 7, I think I did that when I was about 16 or something. I'd done grade 8 on the clarinet at 15, so it was the sort of the way I wanted to go, really. So anyway, the iwi, well, that's another story. I learnt that last year. To be honest with you, I'd never even heard of it. I'd never seen one. I vaguely knew there was sort of electronic clarinets, but I'd never really seen one. And it was a work colleague who sort of pointed it out to me. I think we were sort of watching a YouTube video. And then I watched a few more YouTube videos, and yeah, it was a bit of a light bulb moment. I thought, it's a cool instrument. The sounds it actually makes itself, not so great, but the potential, I could just see the potential at that point. I don't know, I had sort of an inkling I wanted to get back into doing more composition, or actually doing composition stuff, writing music, and I could just see that it could be a perfect instrument for me to experiment with, because you put it with a music program like Reason, which is what I'm using at the moment. You can just have so many samples of anything, really, and that's particularly brilliant when you're composing. It just is, yeah. So that's iwi, and the saxophone, well, that's quite a new one, really. probably a couple of months I've been doing that, or I don't know, 2 or 3 months. I got into that because I was teaching an adult pupil the clarinet. She wanted to improve her tone, just her general playing, and we're basically doing jazz duets and also doing jazz improvisation. And she's a multi-instrumentalist. She's got pretty much every instrument under the sun in her house. It is, wow, it's just amazing, basically. I said to her, oh, you know, I quite fancy learning the saxophone. And she said to me, well, I've got a saxophone, do you want to borrow it? And I went, yes. And I had a bit of time because I was working from home, doing full-time work, but there was quite a lot of gaps in between that full-time work, put it that way. So in those gaps, I taught myself the saxophone, basically. Oh, right, your third question, self-taught on saxophone. Well, I've sort of answered that, haven't I? Yes, I am. But it's not a massive step because, you know, I've been playing the clarinet pretty much since the age of 10. I'm now 50. It's just like playing the clarinet with recorder fingering. It isn't a big step to do, really. So if anyone considers doing that, do it, because it really isn't that difficult. The embouchure, if you have to have a tighter embouchure with the clarinet, with the saxophone it's looser, so that's an easy adjustment. Yeah, so that's my saxophone history, sort of. Question 4, do I enjoy playing the instruments? Yeah, I totally do. I just like noodling around on music. It's fun. Just is. I like playing the piano quite a lot. I like playing it. It's an instrument you play on your own. You just get quite absorbed in it, get quite lost, sort of just having fun playing it. Working it out is, you know, it's a bit of a challenge. The saxophone is a bit of a challenge. The clarinet's a bit like a third limb to me, to be honest with you. It's just a bit of a part of me, and just love playing it. And sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it sounds rubbish, but it's just a bit of me, really, the clarinet. And I quite like the EWI as well as to compose with. I mean, I've honestly, you know, it's just been fantastic for composing, just all the sounds I can get out of it. It's quite sensitive as well, you know. If I was sort of had a keyboard hooked up to Reason, you just don't get the sensitivity of the notes, whereas with breath control it just comes to life, really. It's, I don't know, difficult to describe really, but it is quite unique and I really like it. Okay, question 5. What other instruments do you want to learn? Good question. I'd quite like to learn the bass clarinet a bit more. I have played it in the past. I had to learn it. I was in an ensemble at Sussex University 25 years ago. It's a long time now. That's probably the last time I played it. It was a Ligeti piece. It was really quite a difficult piece, and I think I had about 4 weeks to literally learn the instrument, learn this piece, which was, you know, if you ever know Ligeti, it's difficult. And yeah, did it because, you know, I like a challenge, put it that way. So I actually would quite like to get a bass clarinet maybe one day. I know they're not overly practical, but so what? And I don't know, maybe some other saxophones. I've tried my daughter's ukulele. I didn't really get on with it, you know. I just all the fingering's so different from a woodwind instrument. It didn't, I don't know, wasn't very intuitive. I've tried the flute before because my older sister used to play the flute. Get a note out of it, but again, not that fussed. And I've tried the violin. My younger sister used to play the violin and sounded a bit scratchy, really, you know, like cats sort of wailing, you know. It wasn't my instrument, you know. Sometimes you just have to find your instrument, and when you do, it's great. Okay, your sixth question. Have I looked at the sax channel you referenced in one of your comments? I have, but got to be honest, I haven't had the time to really look at it properly. I just haven't had the time. I've been doing a lot of composing. I've been learning the saxophone on my own, I suppose, and playing. I suppose I've been playing things, noodling about really. I haven't delved into the saxophone that deeply. I've literally been noodling on pieces I've enjoyed to play, and to be honest with you, quite a lot of books from the library. Yeah, okay. And question 7, does it bother me you asking about my music? No, it doesn't bother me at all, actually. It's actually, got to say, it's quite flattering. You know, I don't talk about music a lot, really. I suppose I just get on with it. So yeah, so if you want to ask me any more questions, you know, just send me some more. You know, I'm quite an honest sort of person. I'll answer them within reason. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching if you've got this far. All right then, bye.